When Yellowstone National Park was established in 1872, the population of northern Rocky Mountain wolves, a subspecies of the gray wolf, were already beginning to disappear throughout Wyoming and Idaho. Rather than protect the quickly diminishing species, the National Park Service put various predator control programs in place. These programs allowed park administrators, poachers, and even tourists to hunt wolves and other animals considered to be dangerous predators. When the United States Army took over administration of the park in 1886, public hunting of wolves was banned. However, in 1914, records show that wolves were killed by members of the Army. By 1926, the last recorded wolf was killed, leaving very few, if any, wolves in the park. The absence of wolves in Yellowstone dramatically altered the ecosystem. The elk population began to grow rapidly. Overgrazing caused the deterioration of the landscape, which hurt the many other animals and plants in the area. Another program was put in place, this time to kill elk. The idea of reintroducing wolves was brought up, but dismissed, as the Park Service still stood behind their decision to remove them. Despite other efforts, the elk population continued to climb. Eventually, popular opinions that labeled wolves only as dangerous predators that should be removed began to change. Several studies by prominent biologists and experts such as Aldo Leopold, David Meck, and John Weaver concluded that the reintroduction of wolves to Yellowstone would be helpful for the ecosystem. With the passing of the Endangered Species Preservation Act of 1966, gray wolves were one of the first species to be listed as endangered. However, the reintroduction of wolves did not begin to move forward until the Endangered Species Act of 1973. A recovery team was put together and a plan was introduced to the public in 1982. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service published the Northern Rocky Mountain Wolf Recovery Plan in 1987, and in 1991, Congress began funding for the plan. 5 possible solutions were presented with the reintroduction of experimental populations being picked. The solution was met with opposition from the Sierra Club and the Farms Bureau, but these objections were overcome, and the reintroduction began in January of 1995. 14 wolves were captured in Canada and shipped to Yellowstone. First, the wolves were put into acclimation pens to help the wolves adjust to their environment. The pens were opened gradually, and the 14 wolves released into the park, with 17 following in April of the same year. The elk population began to shrink faster than expected after the reintroduction. The coyote population also began to shrink, which in turn led to the rise of the fox population. Trees and plants in the area changed yet again, and many other animal populations rose due to their habits of scavenging carcasses left by wolves. Gray wolves have recovered substantially and were removed from the endangered species list in 2008. The hunting of wolves is now legal outside the boundaries of Yellowstone National Park. This decision was met with criticism from some groups, but many of the biologists who had supported the reintroduction argued that the wolves were now at a sustainable rate. The status of wolves in Yellowstone National Park continues to be a topic of controversy. Many factors go into the management and the consequences of any animal population control. For more information, visit the official Yellowstone National Park website.